So in this video, I'm going to answer the question, what is the forward pass? So the forward pass is the series of calculations to obtain a prediction from a piece of input data. Intuitively, the input data is passed through the layers of the network in the forward direction, so going from the input layer to the output layer. A neuron's activation is just another way to say the output of the neuron. The activations of the input layer are taken from the input data, and then the predictions are taken from the activations of the output layer, which have been calculated by the network. There are two operations in the calculation of the activation at each neuron. First, we obtain a weighted sum of the inputs to the node. For a multi-layer perceptron, this is the sum of activations of the previous layer multiplied by their associated weights, plus the bias of the neuron. Secondly, we apply an activation function to this weighted sum. Therefore, an activation function is a function that transforms the weighted sum of inputs to a neuron's output/activation. It is often represented mathematically by a lowercase sigma. Examples of activation functions include the sigmoid function and the ReLU function. The activation function is generally chosen to be a nonlinear function. By introducing nonlinearity into the model becomes more able to capture complex patterns/relationships in the data than linear models. Ignoring the rest of the network, the diagram shows 3 neurons connecting to a neuron in the next layer, and the associated 2 mathematical operations to calculate the neuron's activation. The mathematical convention is that the superscript represents the layer and the subscript represents the node in the layer. The activation of this neuron can then be used to calculate activations in subsequent layers. From these two operations, we can see that a weight can be thought of representing the strength of the connection between 2 neurons. This mirrors an idea in neuroscience that neurons that fire together wire together. The bias value then determines the level of stimulation required by a neuron for meaningful activation. And so that's all for this video. Thanks for watching.